So,
Because I'm based on the office, but it's fine.
all right, we're gonna get going.
Sorry, apologies.
All right, so, has anyone in the class, just so I know where kind of everyone's at, like actually, done a CMA, went to a listing appointment? Okay, so,
I wouldn't mind having a refresh on that.
Yes.
okay, like as far as what end?
We're beginning to end.
Just doing it, a CMA?
I've only ever done
Doing
one.
a CMA,
Okay.
I've only ever done one.
Okay, well, I don't do my own CMAs, my assistants do them. I didn't know it was going over, actually doing a CMA on that. I mean, I actually can go over like the CMA once it's done.
That's fine. What was the,
I mean, here, I'll just
what's
bring
the-
I can bring my girls just to, if we can do an example. If you guys have a specific area, or
Yeah.
then I'll go over, pricing.
Yeah, you have a CMA through the MLS, right?
Yeah.
In that aspect, but
Yeah.
maybe some other tools.
Okay.
Sort. Thank you. Is that cool, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'd like to hear, obviously, any listing presentation, it's,
Yeah.
let's have it.
Because you what, you have your competitive market analysis both in the beginning, and then after the appraisal, another one. Should it be raised and concerned?
Yeah, this is one of his agents.
I brought my girls. So do you guys have an area you want us to do, or like a house, location, or anything specific?
Something right.
Okay, something in Rochester. Downtown
I have
Rochester,
a current listing in Rochester.
or Rochester with land? I mean, because you go at it, a different, each house you're gonna go at it a different way.
How about 3076 Honor
Honor?
in Rochester?
Okay, so let's do a specific house, so.
See how close we got tonight.
Just pull up the public record.
Sorry, can you say just one more time?
3076. And then the street is Honor.
H-O-N-O-R.
So when you have a lead that comes in and they give you the address, you can look up the information on the house before you meet with them on public record, if you don't want to ask them any questions.
Okay.
And this will give you the basics, like this, usually the public records will have the square footage, the style of the house, if there's a basement, right at the bottom here. So you have some basic info. So, do you want to do something?
Oh, I just have something to add.
Okay, so obviously, when you're doing a CMA, the number one thing is location. So what I like to do is go to, here, you want to just leave
And just so you know, they prepare all my CMAs for me, so that, everything's done, and then I go look at it, meet with the people, and
Oh, well, we'll just call them then. They can do all parts too, right?
So what I'll do first is type in that you want to stay in the same municipality if possible.
do you know if this particular one, I didn't see, like, does it have a bunch of land, or is it?
No, it's just a subdivision.
Okay.
Lot.
Okay, because it didn't have land dimensions on it.
Um,
I just want to make sure it's not on like 4 acres or something.
No, no.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
72 foot frontage.
Yeah, maybe. So for this one, we'll do Rochester and Rochester. And then just go to the map tab. Map search.
comparable sales closer to the home, the better. Because, I mean, it can change, you know, block by block.
Location. Each city's different. Sometimes you can do just a mile radius circle, but in some neighborhoods, it's really tricky, like, for example, in Ferndale or, Hazel Park, there's a huge difference between 9 mile and 8 mile, whether
This-
you're north or
This
south.
community, this house is 4 doors down from my own home, so I know. If you go 2 blocks away, you're in a sub full of, it's a gated community full of $1 million homes.
See, so you can see
Yeah, and
different
in
situations.
this sub, they're 250 to 350.
So you can actually stay right in the specific sub if you wanna try that first,
Yeah, we'll
to
see
see
how
how many
many
results.
Yeah.
Results.
So-
We'll
Yeah,
back out from there.
That Kingston Point is essentially the sub that the house is in. You got Walnut Brook is $1 million and $1.5 million.
Right, so what we'll do in this situation is we'll go to the polygon search, and we'll stay right in that specific zone.
So about from here.
Is that about where the sub is?
From an appraiser standpoint, they usually go as far as 3 miles out though, right?
They usually try to stay within 1 mile.
They stay within 1 mile?
Yeah, in very rare situations, they can go out 3 if it's a rural area.
Sure.
But this is never.
And we're I mean, you know, we're figuring out market value.
Of course.
You know, they're figuring out, you know, just everything that's sold in the area. We're gonna, you know, dig a little deeper on, you know, condition and, you know, things wrong.
Okay, so now that we have the map area.
Updating needed.
Selected, we'll go to the criteria. So how did, we're gonna click on sold.
What's
So
that?
right now, we're
I'm
looking
watching
at.
them right down, step by step.
So first, we're gonna pull sold, and what James was just saying, this is basically what the appraiser is gonna do to come up with an appraised value. Later, I'll show you how to come up with a closer range for, market value, which we'll compare after.
So the appraiser wouldn't include pending?
The appraiser will use
Depends
sold
on the amount of
first,
comps that come up, but usually, you know, they're gonna wanna have sold.
Okay.
so we know the actual selling price.
And we actually go a little bit further, we'll approach it in a second. We, do, you know, try to stay as close to home as possible, pick up the solds. We do try to pick up any pending so we can see, you know, what someone is willing to pay for, you know, at the current market time. Then we'll also look at the actives, so we can compare to see how our home compares to the competition. Because if we overprice our home and the other home, you know, is nicer for $5,000 less, guess what? Our listing's gonna help solve that other property, so.
So you can see right now, this is the criteria, everything that's sold in 1 year in that map area, in that city, there's 19 results. So you probably want to narrow it down a little bit more. You can go ahead,
Bring in the.
you could go to 180, go back 6 months. Okay, so that brought it down to 11. So the next most important thing would probably be square footage size. So if you wanted to narrow it down even more, you could put a range of square footage.
27 to 34.
So that only brought out 3 matches. You want to try to have a minimum of 5 lots.
Maybe make it 32.
Yeah, what's the standard? 26.
That neighborhood, you don't find much more.
Okay, so they're all.
So let's just, what we'll
Let's-
do is we'll go back a little further.
Yes, sir.
Go back to the 300.
Maybe 30.
Let's see what comes up.
That's perfect. So there's 9 good results, so look on those.
Then obviously we'll weigh the newer sales if they're selling for more.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Sits right in the immediate south, close to the size, and now you want to compare style.
Like a full season, they were comfortable with.
Yeah, the full.
So you select use all those comps.
Yeah.
And May at the bottom. And you can actually, if you can find an old listing to get, that will save you a lot of work, because you can actually copy and paste the MLS number, and it'll autofill all of the subject property information here. Did you try to see if there was an old?
Stephanie, what did you say again? It would auto-populate based on the information on the specific property? that
On the
you're-
old listing, yeah, if you can find an old listing. So on the public record, do you have that open?
It's currently,
This property is?
this property is.
Oh, do you have the MLS
Wait,
number?
don't look at it, because then it's gonna give me a biased opinion on the price. so-
Oh, you wanna try to get it?
Yeah, we're trying to do is figure out if I
Yeah.
priced it right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, but if I see the price, then I'm gonna have something.
Karnak, the magnificent.
All right, so we'll skip that part and we'll add it in later. So right now, we'll just go to finish and kind of do this.
Now this is just unsolds.
Yep.
Would you do like 5 solds, 5 pennies, and 5?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. We were just
We usually
talking.
try. I don't know if you were out. I was
Oh, okay,
out.
okay.
Yes, we do try.
So now, James, you can go over how you present this to the seller.
Can you get the things?
Yeah, talking like this.
She's gonna do the things. What was this for? Is this the subject? Or no? What's the address on the subject?
3076.
Yeah, how
We
many-
didn't put the subject on there.
How many square feet is the subject?
3139.
Oh, we just wanted to go around.
Oh, just scroll down. So your listing is just, is the for colonial?
James, I think you accidentally hit the freeze frame on the projector. It says,
Oh.
upper right-hand corner, it says freeze, so there you go.
Sorry, all this technology up here.
Well, it's nice to know you don't have to be tech expert to be successful in this.
I think this is the neighborhood my mother-in-law lives in, actually.
Really?
Yeah. She lives on Jackson.
Oh, yeah, that's, part of that stuff.
Yeah, the back near the woods with the trail there and
Yeah.
the 2 ponds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possession.
Yeah. So I actually know this neighborhood.
Okay.
Says 3,100 square feet. So where, location of the subdivision, tell me about it, like where's that in the south?
South of, the sub is south of Auburn Road.
No, I know where the south, but
say-
location in the sub, I mean.
It is,
Near the dirt road?
No.
On the sides?
no,
Okay.
you basically come in off of Auburn, curve around Florence, and then turn right on to Honor. So you're in the north part of the sub. There's the North Kingston sub, and then there's the South Kingston sub. There's one street, really, that I know of, that's technically a different sub, but they're all connected together. You wouldn't know what to look at.
I mean, is the basement finished?
Unfinished, but it's a daylight basement.
Okay, and then, is there a pool?
No pool, but it does have a very nice deck made of composite material, so it's a maintenance-free deck. And it's fairly nicely landscaped, it's like professional landscape. It's all freshly painted inside, vacant and freshly painted.
So with all those characteristics that he's touched on,
What's that?
with all the characteristics that, you know, he's,
No, I know the subdivision, that's why I am. And then it does have a 2 or 3 car garage.
2-car.
have you already met with this client?
I haven't listed.
You have it listed right now?
Yes.
Nice home?
It's had like 7 showings, been listed about 10 days, and had about 7 showings. Put that on. So kind of curious to think if we're overpriced, I don't know. I thought we were aggressively priced.
370, 380. What do you have that?
369 then.
I just haven't seen it, so.
Yeah.
It's
When we-
priced pretty good.
When we hit the pendings, when Tricia, Raymond helped me price it, and there was a house directly behind it that just sold for 10,000 more than that, in a pending offer actually, for 10,000 more than that. And we actually told the seller that we could price it at about the same, and the seller said, I don't wanna have to make, she just had moved tenants out of it, cleaned it, and said, I don't wanna have to make a mortgage payment in September, let's price it below the market, so.
I mean, you have the 360.
369.
Is it Avondale School?
What you gotta do on,
It is
on that
Avondale.
neighborhood, you gotta direct the agents, you know, on the showing instructions to come in off of, what street is that? Richmond.
Off Richmond, yeah.
Because
Rather than
if they come
Rocky.
in off, like I took my, like, when I sold my mother-in-law the home in there.
Yeah.
We first came in off the dirt road, and as
Rocky,
soon as
yeah.
we
Yeah.
hit the dirt road, I mean.
Yeah, there's
We're
one-
like,
Yeah,
no,
older
let's put
houses.
this, we just stopped and I said, well, let's look to see if there's, you know, another way in that's all cement.
Yeah.
Because as soon as she saw there was dirt road, I mean, the deal
That
was
was
off.
it, yeah.
She was just like, let's get this, so.
Yeah.
Make sure, you know, agents know that, you know, to come in, you know, off of
Okay.
that street, because if
Yeah.
they come in off the other streets, it's not the
It's a good,
same.
with an engagement instructor.
And especially it's been really dry,
See what
so the
Yeah.
dust is like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
So, and it's not as attractive coming in
right.
on those side streets either than if you come in the main entrance.
Right, because then you go buy a lot nicer, newer homes, you know, everything was built about the same time.
Yeah, so that, it's nice to go,
Yeah.
it makes a big difference, so try to,
So you think it's priced about where it should be?
yeah, obviously I haven't seen the inside, I mean, it's tip-top shape for what it is.
It's in beautiful condition, you got nice tiles, freshly painted.
The problem is,
Freshly shampooed
some of these,
carpets.
you know, it's just, they need some updating. Like my mother-in-law went in there,
Yeah.
I mean, I think she put like $20,000-$30,000 into it.
The only thing that could be updated might be the kitchen
I was gonna say
island
the
a little
kitchen.
bit, but it's got nice cabinets, it's got crown moldings throughout, so it's a nicer home.
So, I mean, it looked like, you know, you were, priced about the same. obviously, so, You guys have any more questions on the CMA?
No, that was pretty good. Thanks.
So, I mean, a lot of times you'll figure out, you know, price per square foot, figure out the, you know, the averages if you look here. So you can see, this is the average in this area, the high.
Look at the other streets on the market, so probably this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, just-
I feel like that neighborhood doesn't really move too quick, because I see signs when I'm going through a neighborhood and
Yeah.
it takes some time to come down.
The only feedback we've gotten from a lot of agents, I think we've had 7 showings.
People don't like the trailer park across the street.
That was one comment, and the other was that they really didn't want Avondale schools, they wanted choice
Yeah.
schools. So the school district,
Right.
is not.
That's why I asked you for the school district, which I think.
It's actually a really good location, because you, honestly get to the west side, like in like 10 minutes from there. You just hit Square Lake and
Oh,
you're
yeah,
West
you're like,
Bloomfield.
you're like 2 minutes from, 1059.
No, I know, it's a really good location, so, that's the biggest drawback is the schools, so.
How do you increase its value in a store, let's say with whatever amenities? I mean, the house may have versus other properties with the same square footage, how could you?
I mean, it only will go so far. I mean,
Right.
someone could put, you know, gold-plated floors in, and obviously, you know,
Yeah.
that's worth more. But I mean, if there's only a peak in that neighborhood, then you can't really go beyond that threshold. Or else, we're gonna have problems, you know, most likely on the appraisal, and that can actually put them into another neighborhood that with nicer homes.
Right.
So then they're gonna start looking, you know, at other neighborhoods, at least I would.
Are you talking about how to add the adjustments onto the report?
Well, like there was the
Do that?
composite decking that he had touched on, right?
Oh.
That's expensive, right?
Okay.
You have
Yeah,
a
it's a
certain.
$10,000 deck.
Well, I'm sorry?
It was a $10,000 deck according to the customer.
So that being said, and then in addition to that, you also have countertops and island that was placed in there, so obviously there was a major renovation.
So you're gonna be at the, you know, the
Peak
top
of
of
what that is
the
for square
market
footage,
value,
right?
but it
So-
only can go so high.
Right, of
I mean, you
course.
could do, you know, spend $100,000 on a $30,000 house.
Right.
And, I mean, if the neighborhood doesn't support it, then, I mean,
Doesn't
maybe you
support
might get
it, right.
40, 45, but I mean,
You asked if it had a finished basement. How would you factor that in if it did have a finished basement? Just
well, I would
increase it.
then look at the comparable sales, and then I would, you know, if none of them had a finished basement, then I would, you know, add a little bit for them. So, but, you know, I just happen to know, you know, what my mother-in-law just paid last year, so I actually know this particular neighborhood, so that's why I was asking this question.
What do you use for like trial homes? For comparables?
For comparables, I would try to use quads, buys, you know.
Because obviously sometimes there's not a lot.
No, I know.
In the area.
And then,
I've ran
and
into
if,
where it's
and
like
if
a
you don't,
range of
and
like
if you don't have any
$50,000.
comparable sales, then you just gotta subtract.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's probably, you know, worth or 10, maybe 50% less. People, you know, tend to not, you know, at least the buyers now, they're tending to not want those tries and buys and quads. It's just not the, you know, style of home now, so.
Right.
It does have less desirability. Usually the desirability level, the colonials, ranches, quads, tries, buys, as far as, you know, what some people won't be. What's nice about ranches is, if you're comparing, like, let's say a ranch, finished basement to a colonial with a finished basement, usually the ranch finished basement is gonna be twice the size of the colonial, because they're bigger, you know, footprint. And it does cost more to build, obviously, the ranch basement, price per square foot. So, always try to, you know, compare apples to apples, just like you're saying. You know, so
Yeah.
try to find ranches, you know, if you're, have a ranch, but if there aren't any ranches, then you would, you know, maybe add a little bit because of the fact that it has a ranch, it has a bigger basement, more fixture than the basement. So I hope that helped, guys.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else on the CMA? No? So,
Thanks, Stephanie.
and then are you guys all, like, what we'll usually do is we'll print this in color. Something at this price point we would print in color. We would print this whole report, we'd bring it, you know, with us, you know, on a listing appointment. We bring some marketing material, you know.
Show them how to
on our
add the
team.
pages too. When you go to the beginning of the CMA, you can make it as short or long or detailed as you want. When you go to the pages tab right there, you can have a nice cover. Then it just has all the data, comparing to the comparable properties, and then you can add all these extra pages here under the static. That's really extensive, and it just goes through all the things that you can offer.
So if you have like an engineer going out there, most likely gonna be a numbers person. So you're gonna wanna be really thorough on the numbers end of it. You know,
Cost per
because they're gonna be
square
figuring out
foot.
price per
Yeah.
square foot
Yeah.
down to the, you know, the 26 cents. No, I'm being serious, so they're gonna figure that out. So you doing that for them is gonna help you more. I mean, if you have someone kind of laid back, they just kind of wanna see, you know, pictures in color. No.
like Pete was saying about the price adjustments, like, and what James was just saying, if you go to price adjustments, you can make all those changes to the comps as far as like the decking and the granite. You can add and subtract value, like an appraiser would do, if you really wanna be thorough
Yeah,
for a higher end listing. And
I
there's
think that's what a lot of the,
Now, let's say this, just for example, this particular property wasn't in the neighborhood, it was on 4 acres, okay? So, like in Rochester, I mean, there's not a lot of land everywhere, so, you know, what do? What I would do is do the initial CMA, just like how we did it, to comparable houses as possible. You look at the CMA, nothing else with the acreage recently has sold. So then I'll do a separate market report to figure out what the acreage in the area of vacant land has sold for. And then I'll figure out kind of what that sold, selling for, then I'll add it to, you know, the house. And I'll subtract a little bit because you're kind of putting it as like a package deal. But, you know, so sometimes you have to do 2 CMAs to come up with a CMA, if that makes sense.
Do you have any more questions on this?
I mean, these are like the CMA, I mean, these girls do like 300-400 of them a year.
Any thoughts on sending the CMA ahead of the appointment, instead of emailing it to the
Oh,
customer?
yeah, we do that all the
As
time.
opposed to taking it in person? Is there a preference or advantage either way?
Say that.
I said, do you have any thoughts on, you know, sending the CMA to the customer in advance as opposed to taking it?
I really don't
showing it?
like to, because then that gives them an opportunity to give you a no, because you gotta remember, this is a sales job too, we're not social workers, we're not just, you know, doing all this work for fun. I mean, the goal is to get a paycheck at the end of the day, I mean, it is. So, you know, you gotta go there and, you know, sell them on it. You can see body language, you know, how someone reacts to a price. I mean, if someone just goes, don't, you know, you can tell right away they don't like the price and
Right.
kind of, you know, take it from there. But on an email, I mean, you don't, there's no sound,
Right.
there's no
Right.
nothing. I mean, you can just get, we decided not to sell now. Then what?
Yeah.
You didn't get a chance to get in front of them. So the more people you get in front of and
That seems like
getting in front of people, you're gonna have a better
Yeah.
chance of closing, because you're gonna need to sign, you know, listing paperwork.
Yeah.
Not to say, you know, you don't send out listing paperwork to get signed, but that's usually, you know, out of state, you know, investment properties.
Some people don't always have an appointment, they just want to get the value, that's what just
Okay. So, if they're just sort of like,
Yeah.
nibbling.
Because you don't wanna waste your time
Nibbling at the
either.
bait.
There's only so much time
You
in the
can't
day.
always,
Yeah.
I mean, you get the time.
You can just click on a button as it goes to my house.
There we go. Just take their info and just put it on. Any other questions on the CMAs or how to make these reports?
are you gonna go through your whole listing presentation?
I wasn't planning on it. I mean, all it is, I mean, I'll give it to them, I mean, go give them the resume, you know.
Just the marketing.
Yeah. We just basically bring a marketing package. I go over the market report, I go around the home. I just will point out maybe, you know, things, suggestions. I always tell them it's constructive criticism, because people can sometimes get offended if you're like, do this, do that. They're like, hey, this is my house. Just say, you know, this is all just constructive criticism, and I'm just trying to, you know, show you things in the home that I think, you know, will facilitate a sale. So, you know, maybe point out some things, give them a couple names, numbers, contractors, or, you know, easy approaches to, you know, resolve and fix these problems, let them know, you know, I'm there to help. I'll go over the CMA, you know, with them thoroughly. Then I go into, you know, about the, you know, myself and team, you know, gotta, they'll bring in that
Do you
information.
go by yourself, because you have a team, so do you bring a team member with you when you do the presentation?
Well, it depends. I mean, well, this is Kellen. He's dressed casually today, but he's one of my listing agents. So, like, for example, like, I'll get a list. He always wears a suit. That's why
Have
I
you never
said.
seen me not in a suit? I thought you were born in a suit, man.
He always is the best dressed. But I'll get a listing, you know, lead that I'll, you know, give it to him, and then some of them, if I know them like personally or worked with them in the past, then I'll go, but, you know, I usually don't
It's
do
pretty
it.
loud, sorry. I miscounted.
What class is it?
Oh, so we used to do a lot more Rios in the past, so the private owners are a little bit newer to us as well. When the foreclosure era happened, I had a bunch of servicing companies, banks I worked with, HUD. I still have these contacts, but I mean, I would get an email and they would say, you know, there's 50 homes today and here's the address. And, you know, and then I would just price each one, you know, and then get them listed. And just, it was more of like an email relationship and there was no emotion. When you're dealing with the private sellers, there's definitely a lot of, you know, emotion on the other end.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
lot more work, so.
Do you ever find yourself like trying to talk the customer out of making a whole bunch of improvements before they sell the house?
Talk them out of it?
Yeah, I mean.
Well, it depends. If they're not gonna get their money back,
They're
then
going,
yes.
they're
I
going
mean,
overboard and, yeah,
Yes.
thinking it has to be
correct.
perfect before they list it, that kind of thing.
But you definitely want to price it to sell. And another thing, what I've, you know, kind of in the last year or two, what I've felt that works really great is I'll take my iPad to the listing appointment. I'll just hit, I have, you know, 4G service on it, so I don't have to use a person's Wi-Fi or ask for a password. But I'll just hit the Realtor.com app. I mean, it zooms right into everything active in the area. You can sit there, go through the pictures, see your, you know, competition, and give someone, you know, a nice visual, lets them know, you know, you're technology friendly.
And then you also provide them with the CMA at the same time.
Correct. So you say these are the reasons sold. This is our competition. Pretend you're a buyer.
Right.
You're looking, you know, to purchase a home. Now you see where I'm coming up with your price, because if you price it higher, look, you're just going to help this neighbor sell this home. So a lot of it's visual. If people see, you know,
And then you go right into strategy as to how you market your
and
property
then
and showcase it.
yes, and then I mean, if I sense the appointment's going well, and I honestly just I don't, you know, I always bring the listing paperwork when I'm at a listing, and I just will pull it out and just go right into it. Just say, okay, let's get this going, and then I just start going into the listing paperwork, because people don't like confrontation. So if you ask, it's, you know, oh, let me talk to my wife and let me do this or that. But if you just, you know, do it, then I mean,
Just assume the business, right?
correct.
Leif told us in another class once that he went to a listing appointment once and he had all this CMA prepared, pictures and everything. And he said, just on a hunch, because of the way the customers seem, he said, do you want to just skip all this and get right to signing the contract? He said, yeah, let's just do that. I said, okay.
It's going to depend on the personality, you
Yeah.
know, and how well you know them, and
Yeah.
if they know you, and
Yeah.
and you know, some people are. I mean, I've been doing this for, you know, going on almost 18 years now, so since right out of high school. So this is all I know, all I've ever done. I don't know really anything else, but you're going to meet all different types of people, and you got to kind of just gauge, you know, each individual, and kind of, you know, be a chameleon. And you know, people like to be around and work with people like themselves. So just kind of figure out that connection. Like, for example, one I went on last week, was walking through the home, and then he had this huge map of Florida. It had all of you know, the spots labeled, you know, little pins where he's been, and I said, oh wow, you know, I have a lot of family down there, and it made this whole conversation now, and you know, we was able to create, like, you know, a relationship, and you know, have some common ground.
Yeah.
So look for something like in the house that you can, you know, relate to them, make conversation, and you know, people love to talk about their house, so let them just talk it out, and just listen. I mean, try not to, you know, cut them off, and they're good. You know, people love their house, and let them, you know, tell you, you know, this is the best kitchen ever, and then show them, you know, the competition, and just say, well, look at this. This one looks like, you know, they did update the countertops to granite, you know, and updated the flooring. You just say, you know, it is nice, but, you know, this is what it is. We can't change this. This is the competition. So, I mean, it's all about, you know, pricing. So a lot of times, you know, you're gonna get people that are gonna wanna, you know, price it higher. And, you know, try to, you know, sell them on price it higher. A lot of times it's gonna sit on the market longer, and longer it sits on the market, then you are gonna tend to get, you know, lower offers. So pricing it right from the beginning, you know, is key. Like on your home, nothing happens like 30 days, I'd probably just do like a 5K reduction.
Well, I already talked to the customer and decided that she is motivated to sell it quickly. I said, why don't we do one more week?
Did you reverse prospect it?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
You can go into the MLS system, and when you list a property, all the agents in the area who have a client who meets the criteria of your home, Realcomp knows that, and then you can email all of the agents and say, your client so and so, my home meets the criteria of your home.
Oh, I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, you should be doing that on every list.
Yeah, first I've heard of it. We have a class on that.
Real confident.
So, and then, are you guys all doing like social media? And I mean, the goal is
Yeah.
blasting it out there.
Yep. Just on the phone with several things this morning. It's a good glitch.
So what are you guys' other questions on listings?
Well, since you mentioned social media, how do you use social media for individual listings or?
I do a little bit of
Or just
everything.
keep in touch with?
No, well, I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
On social media, it's more, you know, with our listings on, you know, we put links from our websites, like bank-owned listings, you know, with Royal Oak, or, then, you know, we'll put on like land. We do, probably 25, 30 commercial deals a year too. So, you know, we do, you know, market as far as, out to the commercial level as well. So,
Okay.
you know, a little bit of, you know, everything, but we pay to boost the post so that it goes to all our friends' feeds as well. So anyone who likes our page goes to their friends' friend.
Oh, that's bad when you pay the extra for the boost.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you ever take a higher price listing just to get it?
I used to more so when I, you know, was first starting. Because you still will get some signed calls, this and that. It just kind of
I mean,
depends
maybe
where
not,
you're at in your
maybe
career.
not like too much, but like I was at a condo, and I know it's gonna sell for like 80, but I think he was kind of like upset. I only said 80 because it was a for sale by owner. He had it for sale for 80. I'm like, well, congratulations, you priced it pretty accurately.
Yeah.
Odds are you're probably not gonna get 80 for it, though. I will, you know. But like, you know, he was kind of just like upset that I came back at the same number he had. You know what I mean? So like maybe if I went like 83, 84, he might have like signed.
I mean, if there's nothing else in the condo complex, I mean, it might sell for that. And it might sell for over the last recent sold, but you'll just have to be, knowing that up front. Just when you go to get an offer, if someone offers more, just say, you know, buyer agrees to pay for the additional, bring the additional funds to closing if the property appraises. Just try to scoop that in. Because stuff is selling for, you know, I see it all the time where it's selling, you know, for more because there's just no inventory. And
Right, like
so when something pops up, there's two buyers that want a neighborhood. I mean, one's like, okay, let's offer 2K more, make sure we get it. Another one's like, let's offer 4,000 more.
Right, like I looked at the house in Warren, and I thought it was a stretch at 164.9, and it sold for full price in a day, and it was just like, but the CMA never would have told me that, and I looked into it for a long time too.
I know.
It's crazy. But then there's other properties that won't sell. Just weird like that, you know. How far can you go with that little wiggle room because the low inventory is kind of like,
A little bit, I would say, you know, like 5%,
yeah.
5, maybe 7.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you know it's overpriced in the beginning and You know, just try to work out, like, maybe, hey, after 30 days, we can probably have this, you know, just bring, like, you know, price change form with you, so that you can have something already signed that, like, in 30 days, that, you know, you'll drop it to so-and-so if it doesn't sell, so that way you already have it, you don't have to, you know, follow up with them, call them about it.
Right.
So bring a price change form with you. Any other questions, guys, or? Nothing?
I mean, I could go all day with listening questions.
I mean, it probably listed like 4,000 homes in my life. I'm being serious.
Yeah. I mean, do you work a lot with like for sale by owners? I mean, I find that
my team has started more so in the
I
last.
find that it's kind of
you know,
easy to
year.
get the appointment, but
We
it's
were-
kind of hard to get them
yeah.
signed considering it's such a seller's
Yeah,
market.
It is a little bit more difficult, but like I said, my team has kind of shifted with the times, because we were, you know, more the, you know, bank owned part,
Right.
we were like 80% on the bank owned real side of it. So now that, you know, I still have those listings, you know, they trickle in here and there, but I don't get emails like, you know, almost $50,000 homes, you know, by next, you know, Wednesday. You know, like from real companies that are just like, you know, price it what you think, you know,
Mhm.
just like get it out of my face. You know? No, literally. So,
Yeah.
and people are always afraid of asset managers, you know, like, oh wow, they give, you know, listings. The thing is, the asset manager is like the lowest on the totem pole at the bank, you know, pretty much. So like, you know, they're really down to earth, you know, easy going people. But never turn your nose up at anything, you know, as far as, you know, listings, because you never know what could come by it. When I worked at the Royal Oak Keller Williams, before I worked it was 10 years ago, but the team leader at the time, running around the office, I guess like a call came in and no one wanted it. It was for like, just when the, you know, economy tanked, you know, $6,000 listing in like Detroit. Running around the office, because someone wants to list a house in Detroit at $6,000. And everyone's just kind of, you know, looking the other way as she's like running around, and she ran by my office and I said, I'll take it, you know, so I took it, and then I pick up the phone and it's like, yeah, hi, are you interested in, you know, taking on new listings? And I said, yes. He said, well, it's been real hard, I've been getting 10 phone calls, and I can't get anyone to, you know, talk about, you know, possibly listing, you know, some of our properties. And I said, okay, well, you know, I have no problem, you know, helping you do so. And they said, yeah, so my name is Chris Patterson, and I am from First National Bank of America. And, you know, we're looking for an agent, you know, in the Metro Detroit area to, you know, I have a team of asset managers that, you know, I want them all, you know, to start, you know, filtering all their listings through one contact. So can you handle that? Yes. Like, so, like, that was off like a $6,000 listing.
Right.
Like, literally. And then, you know, I mean, I've probably, over the last 10 years, made $300,000 or $400,000 off this thing. So, just never know.
Mhm.
I'm just not the greatest at just reading this book, and it's like not very,
It's pretty dry.
yeah, it's not for me. Any other questions, guys? You said you had a couple of, what's another question?
I think what have I ran into? I mean, what day do you think is the best to list a property?
To list? If I were to choose a day, maybe like at like Thursday evening or Friday morning, or before that weekend,
Mm-hmm.
because it creates that urgency. Like people are like, oh, it just came on, it's the
I
weekend,
gotta show it.
and everyone can kind of, you know, usually, you know, get there.
Mhm.
Can like doing open houses?
No.
I'm hearing both things, it's a love or hate it.
Yeah, and so, it just, again, it depends on, you know, what level you're at.
I guess I
know?
shouldn't say,
Like,
do you like doing it, I said, do you do a lot of your listings?
Do I do them? No, I mean, I have agents on my team that like holding them, you know.
Is it mostly for buyer leads?
Yeah, or, you know, sellers complain, okay, house was.
Yeah, sort of an expectation.
Because nowadays, like when I started doing this, I mean, it was like 1999, so when, you know, that era, like, if you had one picture on the MLS, because they just came out with like the MLS, basically, you were like a rock star. You didn't even have to, and most of this, half of them didn't even have a picture, so you didn't even know what you're selling. So open houses more so then, I mean, so people could get into the home, there's more than, you know, if you had, you know, like I said, you would have like one, I think 4 to 6 pictures. So you couldn't really see much. But now, I mean, some of these sites you put like on Zillow or Realtor.com, like 100 pictures. I mean, it's like a 24-hour open house online. And, you know, the consumer's a little bit, you know, with all the today's technology, a little bit more savvy. Like, I'd rather spend, you know, because like I said, there's only so much time in the day to work. I'd rather spend, you know, 3 hours sitting there calling, you know, first time owners or expired or prospects of my sphere, and just sitting there, you know, waiting for, you know, a buyer to come in. That, you know, after I get that buyer, I mean, it's gonna, you know, most likely I'm gonna have to take them out, you know, like 15, 20 hours of work total, you know, in the end. So now you're talking, say, 20 hours plus 23, it's a whole day of working, and then in that whole day, you could be calling 24 hours worth of seller calls can get you a lot more leverage than, you know, working that one buyer, if that makes sense.
You send out a lot of CMAs just to like market, or I mean, maybe when you first started?
I mean, here and
Because
there.
everyone's like, yeah, what's my home worth? And it's just like, well, you know, there's estimate, and I can, like on our website, there's something that can give you a pretty decent estimate, but.
Yeah, I give them usually a range, and then I just said, you know, for me to narrow down this range, I would need to come out to see the home in its current condition.
Another thing for me that's kind of been troubling is just like people who are looking to move but have to sell. It's like finding that person that'll actually do it, right? I mean, like, I'll be like, yeah, you know, come out, we'll talk about selling a house, and then it's just like, ultimately, would you move if we listed your house and find you a house?
And a lot of times it's hard right now because then they start looking at
There's nothing
what's available, and they're looking at the prices, and they're like, so. Like my wife wants to move right now, and we're kind of like stuck in the middle, you know?
Right, because I have someone who's like looking to upgrade
Well,
Rochester
like,
Hills, and it's like, yeah, it's a lot, you know, it's a good price tag for me,
Are you in
but it's like what they're really looking for doesn't really exist. And, you know, unless I find like a stellar deal for them to buy, you know, but by the time that they list, the house is probably gone anyway.
What were you saying?
So it's like a catch-22.
Well, that's a nice house in Rochester Hills for them.
Is that even
Right,
right?
well, I think they live right by
No,
where you're
we're
selling.
Long Lake
Really?
Crooks.
Is that out of the price range though?
Oh, one more.
There-
Crooks, I think.
How many bedrooms is it?
4 bedroom.
It's listed at
It's a newer
About 3 years ago. About motivated selling it.
What's the address on that? I'll take a look at it.
3076 unfinished basement with daylight windows, so.
And then
Could be
rent,
finished next
buy.
week.
Yeah, certain pocket, I mean, for us to like step up, it's like too much.
Oh, stepping up.
Huh?
Stepping up, that's different.
Do you, geographically kind of go virtually anywhere, to take listing, or do you kind of?
I'll do the whole state. I mean, I try to stay in the Tri-County area, honestly.
It's like the whole state.
I mean, I had a closing on Lake Superior last month. And I had another one a few months back that was bordering Wisconsin.
Now, do you work with another local agent usually in that area?
No, also my dad actually has a house in Chicago that he visits a lot, and has a house up in Wisconsin that he visits like, yeah, and so when he, you know, when he goes
Here's
like every other
500
week, so then I just, no, it's because he's on his way in
Yeah.
there anyway. So I just, you know, throw him a little something to get the pictures on the way and
Yeah.
put a lockbox or whatever's needed, and so I can kind of hit. So if I didn't have him, I probably would take, you know, less. But I mean,
Okay.
anything else? No?
Price tag that you don't wanna go low?
Yeah.
Not with listed.
What, it's, I usually, you know, at least try to get like, you know, $750 or $1,000 as a minimum on the list side. So even if it's like, you know, $5,000 or $8,000. You know, obviously like to focus on the bigger ones.
For other agents talking about, actively looking for a referral business in the States, what's thoughts on that? You know, they have a friend who's moving out of state or something, refer them to an agent in that other state to work with.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's common practice. So, yeah, I mean, the goal in real estate is to figure out from that person you're dealing with, obviously to help them and, you know, do everything honest. You know, as honest as you can be. But, to figure out how am I gonna make money off this person? And that, you know, someone says, hey, I'm moving, you know, to, you know, Florida in 6 months, and maybe I'm gonna start looking for a house in 2 weeks. The light bulb should go off in your head. Hey, you know, let me get you in contact with one of, you know, our associates down in Florida, you know, and usually what I'll do is just like Baton Rouge, or not Baton Rouge, that's in Louisiana, but Boca Raton. They're looking at Boca Raton, so I'll, you know, Boca Raton, Keller Williams, or Keller Williams agent. I was popping in Google. I usually won't take the first person or the second person. You know, it just depends how many come up. If it's like a, you know, very populated area, the reason I don't usually want to take the first two is because usually it's a larger team, and, you know, it just kind of gets passed on, and you're not really, you know, dealing, you know, with that, you know, the best of the best, you know, that, you know, is there. Not saying that there isn't best of the best buyer agents, but it's just, you know, something I personally do. But as you go to like the third or fourth, you know, person on that list, because usually, you know, if they're an individual, they're a little bit more, you know, going to be more receptive, hands-on, you know, because usually it's a personal friend or family member of your close, you want to make sure, you know, that, you know, best possible. And then you just call them and say, I have a referral, or you accept the referrals, yes. You want to do 25%, yes. Can I send you a referral form? Yes. What's your email? Write it down, send it over, have them send it back, and when they close the transaction, you get 25%.
Pass the contact information on to your.
Yeah, it's all on the referral form. Anything else?
What do you see in the shift in the market personally?
Personally, I think we have more buyers in the market than we normally would have, just because we have the buyers that are already here. Plus, when we had the mortgage crisis, you know,
With interest rates being low.
well, the interest rates are low, so there's a lot of buyers that can afford. And then the mortgage crisis we had, you know, our peak foreclosures were 2010, 2011. You know, some trickled into 2012.
And now they can qualify.
Yeah, now those people can qualify. So those people normally wouldn't be in the marketplace all flowing in at once. So, because that was, you know, our peak foreclosure. So once those people pull back, you know, and all those people aren't in there, we're going to see a little bit of a correction. I mean, I don't think we're going to ever see, you know, in our lifetimes, maybe, you know, 50 years from now, like the huge correction we had, just a total landslide dip. But I would think there would be some sort of correction. People in Metro Detroit only, you know, make so much money. So I feel like you can only go so high, so quick. And, you know, I'm thinking, you know, that number is, you know, I think in 2018, 2019, we'll see some sort of, correction. Because we're gonna
Like
have
10% or 20%.
probably 5, 10. Yeah. Because the problem now.
Because I know like a lot of people
But
are
now
waiting
there's
to
all
buy.
these people, like, I know if I ever see the market slide again, I'm gonna be like a Monopoly game board and buying as much as possible. So, and a lot of people saw what happened, and I'm sure everyone in this room, I mean, if we had a 90 or 80, 90% dip in our market and all the home values, would you guys be running out buying homes like in the next week or figuring out a way, whatever, to scrounge up as much
Wall
cash
Street
as
Central,
possible?
yeah.
But in 2008 and 2009, 2010, we didn't have that going through our heads. We're kind of just like, whoa, I'm not saying, I mean, I did buy some properties, but we were a little cautious because, I mean, no one's ever seen anything like that happen. So I don't think the market can really plummet too far because you're gonna have all these people just sitting there ready, able, willing to buy.
So I know soliciting course, but like I know like a lot of buyers, especially friends and family members, like, oh, I'm gonna wait until like the market slows down and prices drop a little bit. Like,
And a
what-
seller?
A
Yeah,
buyer.
okay, a buyer?
A buyer, yeah.
Yeah, on the buyer, just say, you're probably gonna have to pay more. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like rent a home for the next 2 years, pay $48,000 or whatever, in rent?
Right, yeah.
Or you're gonna own something that, it's probably gonna cost, at your price point, let's say 200,000.
Right.
Maybe 30, 40,000 more, so you're 80,000 behind, and not to mention you're not getting all the tax benefits, like most people, after deductions make less than 150, so you won't be able to get the deductions on your taxes either, so, as far as writing off the interest.
So anyone with hesitation to purchase, I should tell them you're pretty much wrong, well, I just have a friend, he's 26, 27, first time home buyer. It's like, oh, I want to wait till the winter next year, to buy just because he sees all the prices.
Depends which area you're
I mean,
looking
those-
to. If you're
these-
out in like the Lakes area or Waterford Commerce, I feel like that area like really dies out like in the winter as far as the real estate goes. So I feel like, you could pick up better deals, I feel like in the winter in the lake communities. I really do.
Mhm. It's actually reasonable.
Huh?
It's actually reasonable.
So he's right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily what he meant, but.
But
I
then
think
on the
it's-
other hand, you have a lot of people that say, I'm gonna list my home when it's warm because it's on the lake. So
Right.
it can work both ways. I would just say, listen, how about this? Like, I agree with you because based on, what I'm telling you too, but just say, if the right one comes along, I think you need to jump on it. So it's good that you have some time to sit there and wait, but I wouldn't let the right opportunity pass you by.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's kind of like what I'm saying. Let's get pre-approved. Let's get our exclusive buyer
And then
agency.
when I'm telling these sellers, I just went on one the other day.
Yeah, 'cause
she thought it was.
You don't want to overpay on a property too.
Yeah, she thought it was like, worth 220, and I said it was probably worth 200 at the most. And she said, "What do you suggest I do?" I said, "Well, I suggest because she only owed like 160, so I suggest if you want to move that, and she's moving, from what is it? It's like Sterling Heights up M59, right around there. She wants to move to Oakland Township. And I said, I would, if you're gonna move to Oakland Township, then I would, sell right now, because if you wait for, because she wanted to wait till it's worth 220, by the time you wait for this to be 220, the one you're going to buy is probably gonna be worth $40,000 more, because she's
Yeah,
moving
from
up.
300 to 340.
Yeah, so it's gonna be worth 40,000 more, and then you're financing that over 30 years, so you're actually paying a lot more money than if you just sold it now and moved to Oakland Township, and especially, I told her Oakland Township, like that's myself personally, I think that's one of the next spots that's really gonna, boom.
Yeah.
It's just north of Rochester, it's Oakland County, has a lot of space, a lot of land, people can build.
Uses all the
My
space.
neighbor in Long Lake and Crooks and Troy, I just sold him a lot out in Oakland Township for, he's gonna be, building a home. So, I mean, it's like, it's monstrosity, it's like 8,600 square feet with like, 2 8-car garages. I mean, it's like, so that just shows the money going out that way,
Right.
Not a bad investment.
No, so, and it's just north of Rochester, M59's all the shopping you ever need along M59, and, so I think that's a good area.
You think values will continue to rise for at least the next year or so?
Say that again?
Do you think values will continue to rise for the next year or two?
Yeah, these interest rates, with all, we still have that influx, we haven't reached the peak.
All the renters are all due on
The peak of the buyers coming back into the market that got foreclosed on, is gonna be 2017, 2018 for our market.
It's good to know. I forget about that because I actually used to do mortgages.
So
but
2000,
it was like, it's like what, 7 years?
2017,
usually?
2018, it's gonna be,
You mean people who
got foreclosed on,
their home and
But
forced
then-
to become renters for a while.
correct, but now 7 years has gone by, and our peak was
Right.
2010,
Their
2011.
credibles have recovered.
So that brings it into 2017, 2018. So the next 2 years, I'm thinking, we will have increases, but then after that, it'll flatten back out, or we'll have some sort of like a little bit of a dip or correction. I mean, it's always happened since the beginning of caveman in real estate. I mean, it has peaks and valleys, but it always goes up more than it goes down. And I think a lot of people learned a lesson like that, let a lot of these houses go. I mean, they were letting houses go, when they could have just stayed there and just waited it out, and just rented it for 5 years, and they could have probably have equity in their house back again now.
Mhm.
Any other questions, concerns?
We're starting out now.
I wouldn't have focused as much time on buyers that I did.
What about renters? I'm doing one out of a favor, man, is it a pain?
I know.
It's like, yeah, I'll help. Well, the thing is, because he's living with a house that his grandparents owned but died, so his mom inherited, so they're letting him live there. But so if I find him a place to live, I get to sell, because they're trying to get rid of it
Yeah.
now. So
But
it's
he's
like-
not in a hurry because he's probably getting a deal.
Right. Well, the parents are pretty much kicking him out.
Oh, okay.
And they want to sell, so I have to find him a place to get the actual sell of the
Yeah.
house. And it's just like, now we've looked at 10 places, and it's like, gosh, 10 rentals. It's eating my time.
Wouldn't you be better just give him the Keller Williams app and say, it's a self-serve, pump your own gas thing, dude. When you find something you really
It's not-
like, call me.
Trust me, it's not about the money, and I've lost
Yeah.
money already.
But sometimes you have to look at it, you're learning the market too, you're pretty smart when you spend gas.
Right. Like, I mean, that and I get to preview a lot of properties. I'm newer in the
That's what I
business,
said,
so it's
you're
like,
getting all the
yeah,
market 'cause you're going into
Yeah.
houses.
right. So they're looking in Royal Oak, Ferndale, which is like where a lot of my friends are looking to buy. So it's nice to like get a good idea of all the properties, but still, it's if you put an offer on, that's a price.
Is everyone in this room versed on HUD?
Not really. No. I know what it is, but
Been through it one.
So I teach the class here like once a month, and it's actually 2 Con Ed hours I can get for coming to my class. So
It's not on the schedule.
it should, the HUD outreach.
You think that's a good thing for the community to?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna show you ways to market for free to yourself to, get leads.
When's the next class?
I have to look at the schedule, it should be on there. But there's a lot of programs that, you guys probably aren't aware of. Half the HUD homes aren't even on the MLS. There's a lot of stuff, like, if you know this stuff, I mean, like, do you guys know, like, certain, you obviously have to meet the criteria, but certain times, like, teachers, firefighters, emergency
Yeah.
medical techs, they get properties, up to 50% off.
Yeah.
But they can't
This is
currently,
bank owned home?
No, HUD.
but they
A
can't
HUD home is-
currently own a home,
A
right?
HUD home, is an FHA mortgage.
An FHA loan.
That has gone into default. Then, the lender files an insurance claim, HUD pays them, HUD gets it back. HUD contacts, someone like myself, local, on the local listing.
Mm.
But there's new company, Sage. So, it was McBrio, I was with McBrio, then I went to BLB Resources, and I was with them, and, now it's, Sage is the new company.
You still have to have keys to get into a listing.
Yes, but we're also putting lock boxes as well. We weren't with, BLB.
Zillow call.
Uh-oh.
Well, Knoxville has a HUD class coming up in about 2 weeks also, like a 6-hour class or something.
Yeah.
Is your class like an intro level?
Well, no, mine is probably the same class, but you see, I kind of cram it all, like, with
Right.
useful info instead of just like, you can't retain anything because it's just so
Right.
much.
Right. Well, I'd like to take your class.
Yeah, come to it.
It's an overview.
It's not on the
It should,
schedule.
maybe it's next, it could be next month. She'll send out an email. I'll tell Liz to send out to the whole office once we get to the time. So it might not be this month, but we do them every other month. I just couldn't remember if I did it last month or not.
The last one I came through was like some legal updates and things like that. There were a lot of people, but it was, most people here already were well versed in it, so you were kind of covering, high levels.
Yeah.
An intro class would be great.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you for your
Thank
time
you.
today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Report.